Hi, this is Ajay Anand and welcome to history classes from excelup.com. In this lesson, you will be learning about the rise of nationalism in Europe. You will learn about how the idea of nationalism started from the French Revolution. Then you will learn about Napoleon, especially about the administrative reforms brought about by Napoleon. Then you will learn about the Vienna Congress and formation of Republic in France. You will also learn about the cases of some other countries of Europe. What is nationalism? Nationalism is a belief system which gives a sense of common identity among members of a nation. So, for any nation, what happens? People usually correlate with certain symbols like national flag, constitution, a national anthem, maybe a common culture, which is not possible in most of the cases because most of the countries nowadays they are multicultural and multilinguistic. But there is a sense of common history always there. The idea of nationalism started with French Revolution, which took place in 1789. Before that, France was under the rule of a monarchy. So, what happened during French Revolution? The power was transferred from monarchy to a body of citizens, and the revolutionaries, which successfully achieved in doing this, they declared that people would constitute the nation and shape its identity. In order to further spread the idea of nationalism, various steps were taken by the revolutionaries. So, for example, they created an idea of fatherland, idea of citizen where each citizen had the common rights. A new flag was created, new hymns were created, so that people could correlate with them. They elected the members of States General and it was renamed as the National Assembly. In order to strengthen the unifying forces, the revolutionaries promoted the use of French language and they tried to discourage the use of local dialects. But this success did not last long, and gradually the conservatives once again took hold of power, which resulted in Napoleon becoming the Emperor of France. He ruled over France between 1804 to 1815. Napoleon brought revolutionary administrative reforms. He introduced Civil Code in 1804, which are also known as the Napoleonic Code. And as per this code, the privileges based on birth were abolished, feudal system was abolished, and peasants were freed from serfdom and manorial dues. Guild restrictions, they were removed in town. So earlier, if any artisan he wanted to work in town, he had to become a member of the guild, which was almost impossible for new entrant. So this facilitated entry of new workers in the towns. Then there were improvements in transport and communication. Napoleon also reduced the number of currencies, which were reduced from around 30 to just 2. He introduced a standard system of weight and measurement, and he also abolished various trade barriers which were in place in various parts of France. So all of this helped in smooth flow of goods and people and helped in overall economic development. So how did the people react? Napoleon also controlled many territories outside France. For example, the Dutch Republic, Switzerland, Italy, Germany. People in these territories, initially they enjoyed the newfound freedom because now they were free of doing their own business. The farmers, they were free from manorial dues. But later on, what happened? The increase in taxage, censorship on expression of opinion, and forced conscription into French armies, it turned people hostile. So now the people understood that all those freedoms, they came at heavy cost. So people started resenting against the policies of Napoleon. Before revolution, during mid 18th century, the countries of Europe, they were not nation states as we know them today. So various countries like Germany, Italy, Switzerland, they were divided into many kingdoms, smaller kingdoms, duchies and cantons. There was too much diversity because there were different ethnic groups and languages all over the place. And the only binding factor among the people was a common emperor. So if a particular emperor was ruling over an area, the people could easily correlate with that emperor. Let us try to understand the causes of emergence of nation states. The key causes were aristocracy, a new middle class, liberal nationalism, universal suffrage, and economic liberalization. The aristocracy, it was composed of rich people, people who owned lands, who owned big houses. And these people, they, in order to show their refinement of taste, they spoke French language. They were bound by marital relations because marriages were held among aristocratic families. So these people, they were in minority and they ruled over the majority classes. So this developed a sense of resentment among the poor peasants. Then because of industrial revolution, a new middle class emerged on the scene. This class was composed of workers who worked in factories, teachers, professors, then students who were now educated enough. And the modern education, it helped in spreading the idea of liberalism and nationalism. In fact, the liberalism and nationalism both were intertwined together. So idea of liberalism, it's encouraged that people wanted more freedom, they wanted abolition of privileges on the basis of birth, and they wanted their growth in a socio-economic hierarchy. Then universal suffrage was also another cause because earlier there was no voting right, but gradually the voting rights it began to be given to people. So initially only rich people who were adult, they got voting rights. Later on, all adult male, irrespective of their economic status, they got voting right. And after a very long period, women also got voting rights. Economic liberalization, because of the new policies brought by Napoleon, it also helped in movement of thoughts along with the movement of goods. So it helped in people recognizing new ideas or identifying new ideas. So all of these factors, they resulted in a spread of idea of the nation states, and that is how the nationalism rose through different countries of Europe. Treaty of Vienna. So Napoleon was finally defeated in 1815 by the combined powers of Britain, Russia, Prussia and Austria. And all these powers, they converged at Vienna to hold a congress. This congress was hosted by the then Austrian Chancellor. And the Congress of Vienna, or Treaty of Vienna as it is called, took several steps. Some of them are as follows. The Bourbon dynasty, which was thrown out of power during Napoleon's period, was restored to power. Then, in order to prevent future French expansion, a series of states were set up on boundaries to prevent the further expansion. German Confederation, however, was left untouched. Napoleon had made this confederation and it comprised of 39 states. But autocratic regimes were set at every place in 1815. But even these autocratic regimes, they wanted to continue with various reforms of Napoleon, because they also could see that a better administration can help in strengthening their control over the power. After 1815, what happened? Many revolutionaries, they went underground because of fear of reprisal. But liberals and nationalists, they continued their work. They continued to spread the ideas of liberalism and nationalism among the masses. In July 1830, the Bourbon king was overthrown by these liberals, and Louis Philippe, he was made the head of constitutional monarchy. And this July revolution in France, it triggered an uprising in Brussels, and as a result, Belgium broke away from the United Kingdom of the Netherlands. So now the idea of nationalism, it spread from France to Belgium also. Hunger, hardship and popular revolt. In the decade of 1830s, there was a huge growth in population in Europe. People started migrating from rural areas to cities in search of job, but there was a mismatch in job seekers and job generation. So there was a huge increase in unemployment. In those days, England was highly developed in terms of industrialization compared to other nations of Europe. So the machine-made goods from England, it gave tough competition to locally manufactured goods in various parts of Europe. Then there was a bad harvest coupled with price rise, and all of this led to people becoming pauper or poorest of the poor. So people were in such a state, majority of the people, they could not even afford 2 square meals in a day. So 1848 was such a bad year, and people were so fed up of the situation that people came out on roads in Paris. The situation was so violent that Louis Philippe had to flee from the scene. Then the people made a national assembly which proclaimed France as a republic. And this national assembly granted suffrage to all adult males who were more than 21 years of age. So that is how the events in 1848, it resulted in the emergence of France as a republic. Let us see what happened in other parts of Europe. I'll be focusing on Greece, Germany, Italy and the United Kingdom. Greece was part of the Ottoman Empire, and the struggle for independence of Greece began in 1821. This movement, it got support from the Greeks in exile, and many other people from Europe, they also supported because they were proud of the ancient history of Greece or great history of Greece. So finally this movement culminated in the Treaty of Constantinople in 1832, and this treaty recognized Greece as an independent nation. So now the Greece became a nation. Frankfurt Parliament, it's about the nationalism in Germany. Many political associations, they came to Frankfurt to vote for a German assembly, and these associations, they mainly comprised of people from the middle classes like factory workers, teachers, professors, educated students, clerks. Okay, So on May 18th, 1848, 831 elected members took part in Frankfurt Parliament, and they drafted a constitution of the German nation. The Friedrich Wilhelm IV, who was the king of Prussia, he was offered to become the king or emperor of the German nation, new nation, but he declined, and he joined with the military and aristocracy to oppose the political associations who were involved in declaration of constitution of a new German nation. Moreover, what happened, since these associations, they were dominated by people from the middle class, and there was no representation or negligible representation from poor classes, so they lost their support base. And finally, this movement was oppressed, but reforms continued, because even these new rulers, they started to understand that reforms were the need of the hour. Unification of Italy. Italy had a long history of fragmentation. It was divided into many smaller kingdoms, and different kingdoms, they had their different rulers. The process of unification of Italy, it was started by Mazzini, but because of repression, he failed in unifying Italy. But this process was further continued by King Victor Emmanuel II, who was ruling over Sardinia, Piedmont, a part of Italy, or a province of Italy, you can say. And he was helped by two guys. One was Cavour and another was Garibaldi in collecting resources and people in order to further wage the wars. And finally, all these processes, they resulted in Victor Emmanuel II becoming the king of unified Italy in 1861. Strange case of Britain. The case of Britain was strange because the formation of nation state in the United Kingdom, it did not involve the popular movement or popular resentment or popular bloodbath. The British Isles, they were divided into various ethnicities like English, Welsh, Scot and Irish. Over a period of time, England grew in wealth, importance and power, and in 1688, English Parliament seized power from monarchy. So that is how it gained political power. Then in 1707, Act of Union was signed between England and Scotland, which resulted in formation of United Kingdom of Great Britain. And Ireland was forcibly taken into the United Kingdom in 1801. But the English culture or English way of life, it was promoted, or rather it was imposed on people of other ethnicities. So the Scottish people, they were forbidden to speak Gaelic language. They were even forbidden to wear their traditional dresses. Ireland had two social groups, the Protestants and Catholics. The Protestants, they were in minority, but they dominated over majority Catholics. And these Protestants, they somehow collaborated with the English to make Ireland part of the United Kingdom. And that is how gradually the United Kingdom, it came into origin. To sum up, I talked about how the nationalism started with French Revolution. Then I talked about the administrative reforms brought about by Napoleon. And I talked about some of the developments in the mid 18th century which resulted in spreading the idea of nationalism throughout Europe. Then I talked about how conservative forces, they once again took power in their hands after defeating Napoleon, and then how finally France became a nation state, the modern nation states as we know them today. I also talked about the situation in other parts of Europe, like independence of Greece, Frankfurt Parliament, unification of Italy, and strange case of Britain. That's all for this lesson. Thank you.